Hey, challenge 4, day 4 of the 2017 BookTube-a-thon. And in this one, you were supposed to read a book about someone that's totally not like you at all. That's very different than you are. And that's what I did. This is by Paul Fleischman. He's related to Sid Fleischman, the author. This is called The Boarding Room. And this was a really good historical novel. I gave it 5 stars on Goodreads. This is for like middle school, but it read like a really short adult novel too. It was pretty good. It starts with the birth of the woman that's telling the story, and then it ends, of course, with her death. So it's really bittersweet. But you learn about all the things that happened throughout the years. It starts in like the 1860s and ends in like 1921 or around that time. So through reading this book, you get to see how things change throughout the years. You know, technology in the 1920s, and even back in the 1800s. It's like first they're dealing with the Civil War, and then runaway slaves, abolitionists, and her family, they happen to be abolitionists. A time period when seances and spirituality was prevalent. She had a large family. It was interesting to see how back in those times, because even though this is fiction, the author researched the way it was, and it was interesting to see how they lived back in those times. Like, you only went to school in the winter because during the summer and spring months and even in autumn, you needed to help, you know, with the crops and, you know, with weaving and things that, you know, help run the household like that. Also, with the schooling, they would have to walk for like 5 miles just to get to the school. And teachers would stay at the children's houses, you know, and their parents would welcome them in. And, you know, this also deals with like courting, how they would meet their husband and how they would court, the husband would court them. And the boarding room is something like, that's the room in the house where you have your babies. If people are sick, they're in that bedroom, and sometimes they recover and sometimes they die, because back then they didn't have the things that we have and the medical advances that we have. And then also, of course, when you know somebody's dying of old age, they would go and they would stay in this room. And there were different traditions, you know, like when somebody was dying, they'd come to the boarding room and they'd make a portrait of the person that was dying. It talked about the midwife that helped this family throughout the years. So, and you know what? It focuses on like one character, and her name is Georgina. And I know that there's a booktuber out there, Georgina Reads, so I suggest this book for her because it has your name in it. There's somebody that has your name in here, so you might want to read this. And this is a type of book that I think that Lizzie Fay Books would enjoy reading. It's a really, really nice historical novel. So, you know, I recommend it. This was in a middle school library for a while, and then they withdrew it. And this was donated to that middle school library by a Girl Scout troop. And the thing about this is that, you know, I never would have read it if it wasn't for me looking for short books to read in this book-a-thon. And it would have been a shame to miss a book like this. This was really, really good. And I enjoyed reading about what the family went through. Okay, so I recommend this book to you all. 5 stars on Goodreads. Day 4 of the BookTube-a-thon. Okay, thanks for stopping by.